My brothers and sisters, the Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
The shepherds went in haste to Bethlehem and found Mary and Joseph and the infant lying in a manger. When they saw this, they made known the message that had been told them about this child. All who heard it were amazed by what had been told them by the shepherds. And Mary kept all these things, reflecting on them in her heart. Then the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen, just as it had been told to them. When 8 days were completed for his circumcision, he was named Jesus, the name given him by the angel before he was conceived in the womb. The Gospel of the Lord.
The blessing in the first reading, I think, is a beautiful way for us to start the new year. So I just want you to hear it very carefully, because I think it's just such a beautiful gift from God. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and give you peace. There's a footnote in the New American Bible for this verse. It has the Hebrew word for peace is shalom. And shalom means more than just peace. It's a prayer, really. A prayer asking for you to have happiness, good health, prosperity, friendship, and well-being. So more than just a greeting, this word peace, shalom, is a prayer. And as we begin the new year, let this blessing give us strength, courage, and hope. Not a hope based on frail human promises, but on the foundation of God's blessing, his loving care, and his providential help. The hope that is contained in this blessing is fully realized in Mary, the Mother of God. The Mother of God is the first and most important title for Our Lady. In the Council of Ephesus in 431, Mary was named Theotokos, which is Greek for Mother of God. It's at this council that the church came to understand that Jesus is both fully human and fully divine, not part human and part divine combined into one person, but both human and divine as one. And thus, if Jesus was God, Mary had to be the Mother of God. As St. Cyril of Alexandria wrote, "For if our Lord Jesus Christ is God, how is the Holy Virgin who gave him birth not Theotokos, the Mother of God?" This title, Mother of God, is never really about Mary. It's a way for the church to understand who Jesus was. Mary is always leading us to Christ. In the second reading, St. Paul states, "When the fullness of time had come, God sent his Son, born of a woman." What does it mean to say that Jesus was born in the fullness of time? It's important to understand that human history did not determine when the Christ was to be born. Rather, his coming into the world enables history to obtain its fullness. The birth of the Son of God inaugurates a new era. The fullness of time is the presence of God himself in our history. This new era, we are no longer slaves to sin. We have been ransomed. A price has been paid for us. As Paul says, we are now adopted sons and daughters of God through Jesus Christ. In this way, Mary is also our mother. In the gospel, we hear Mary, as it is said, she kept all these things, reflecting on them in her heart. So all the things that happened to her in Bethlehem, the birth of her son, the shepherds coming and telling her the wonderful story of how the angels came to them to seek out this baby, she reflected on them in her heart. Several other translations use the word ponder or meditate. And I think ponder has a deeper meaning for me in the sense that it didn't just, think about it and then move on to the next thing. She actually took time to reflect and to ponder on what this meant in her life and the life of her people. It took time for Mary to understand all the things that were happening to her and around her. At this stage in Mary's life, her faith was greater than her understanding. And this is what makes Mary so attractive to us. She is someone that we can relate to. Many times in our lives, we have to put our faith over our ability to understand exactly all that is happening. If you think about it, it took the church 400 years of pondering to finally understand Jesus as both fully human and fully divine. And even then, that was not easy for a lot of people to accept and to understand. So what does it mean for us to ponder? What does it take? Can you see God working in the ordinary events of your life in extraordinary ways, the way Mary saw the extraordinary events of God in her life through the ordinary birth of her son? I think there's 3 things I'd like to suggest to help you learn and grow in how to ponder the gift that God has given you. First, take time to pray every day. Seek the presence of God by silencing the outside pressures of life. Secondly, read the Gospels and Paul's letter. They are God speaking to you. If you want to hear God speaking to you, read the Bible. Start with the Gospels. Move into Paul's letter. And third, we have over 80 ministries here at St. Greg's. I'm sure there is one here for you, one where you can share your faith experience and learn from others as they share their faith experience. We have a handbook at all of the exits for you to take, and just browse through these different ministries and find one, whether it's the Adoration Chapel, whether it's volunteering at the cafe. There's so many different things for you to learn and grow in your faith here at St. Greg's. I'd encourage you to take that opportunity, not only to grow in your faith, but to meet other people who share that faith. I was struggling on how to figure out how to end this homily. Don't worry, it does have an ending. But usually I try to end with something to give you to think about during the week, to reflect on. And it may seem like a cheap way to end, but I'm going to end the same way I began, because I think this blessing in the book of Numbers is so beautiful. And I think it's a beautiful way for us to begin this new year, to hear God giving us this blessing throughout the year. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and give you peace. And as Father Francis always ended his homilies, I'll end the same way. May the Lord grant you peace in ways the world will not.